Welcome back to another new episode of Campus Stories here on RMU TV. I'm your host Vince Russo, and we have an awesome show planned for you today. Today we are blessed to be joined by Dr. Lawrence Tomei, the Vice Provost here at Robert Morris University, as we discuss the upcoming commencement ceremony for this spring for graduating students. Thank you for joining us, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us.
No problem. So, what are your duties outside of the commencement ceremony as the Vice Provost of the university?
Okay. The Vice Provost for Academic Affairs has three major responsibilities. The first one is we have academic services under my area, which basically is the registrar's office, people that are the students that come up to register for classes or change majors or prepare for graduation will all come up to academic services. That's one of the major areas that I have. The second major area I call is academic programs. These are programs that don't necessarily fit under any of the 5 schools that we have, but are still academic in nature. Things like the University Honors Program, the First Year Studies Program, all of those related academic courses are under my area. And the third area is basically support services for academics. So one of my responsibilities is to work on things like the facilities, the classrooms, the labs, making sure that that we have those in sufficient form to get ready for the classes. I take care of the budget, both on the expense side of the house and more importantly for us on the academic technology side. So those are the 3 areas that are under me. There's also 2 other vice provosts that work for the provost. They take care of the research and grants function, new curriculum programs, and what we have with institutional information.
So getting back to the commencement theme of the show, what duties do you have specifically with the commencement ceremony?
Well, I have the privilege of chairing the commencement committee every year that consists of literally dozens of support people around this university who all have a part in making sure that commencement comes off so it looks like it's a seamless, well-prepared, because it is, well-rehearsed event. It's the most important event, I think, that we have at Robert Morris every year. And a lot of people put in a lot of effort. So we will have a committee that I chair that includes people from academic services, but it also includes people from student life, because they have an enormous responsibility to take care of the students as they come in. We have to deal with all of the 5 schools. We have people in there from public safety, campus security. We have people on the committee from Parkhurst to help take care of the food and the reception that goes afterwards. We have people from the Sewell Center who are so responsible in setting that up with a technician that works on a contract with us from downtown. So it's an amazing effort. And again, I have the privilege of being the chair of that committee and being responsible for making sure that commencement is a thrill for all the students.
Well, we will be right back with Dr. Tomei here on Campus Stories, so don't go anywhere.
These boys are my heroes.
Nicaragua is a completely different world. We were there to bring nursing care to some desperate people.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
The very first person that I met was David. He kept saying, "You have to come to my house and watch me play my trumpet." You could tell from the look on his face that it was just his most prized possession. I get back home. A few weeks later, I got a message that a gang had broken into his house at night and they stole it, which was his life. So next trip back, we gave him a new one. The look on his face was just complete disbelief. He just absolutely couldn't believe it. And to be able to do something like that is one of the best moments of my life. He said he'd never forget us.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
These boys are my heroes. They come every week to spend time with my children.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
They can teach them something no one else can.
Wisconsin.
They're role models to the children, and homework comes way before sports. Their grades have improved, and their lives are just a bit richer.
Okay.
What they do for my kids is truly wonderful.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
I call them my lifeline.
Welcome back. You're watching Campus Stories on RMU TV. Today we're talking to Vice Provost of Academic Affairs, Dr. Larry Tomei. Thank you again for joining the show today.
Again.
So we were starting to talk about all the work that goes into commencement. What all work does go into commencement?
Well, when you think about it, commencement involves literally every office on the campus. It begins with the faculty submitting grades at the end of the spring semester that go into what's called a graduation audit. So as soon as the grades are posted and they go onto your transcripts, we have academic services who's running a quick check to make sure that that every student that applied for graduation has the necessary credits and grades to graduate. That's usually takes us a day or two before commencement. But we start with Senior Salute, which will start at the end of March, where the academic services folks invites all of the graduates in, and we give them their caps and gowns. We give them their tickets to the commencement ceremony. We make sure their name is spelled correctly on their diplomas. And we take care of all those kinds of incidental things that make commencement work for us when we get going. But the student life folks begin right away talking to the students to make sure that their families are invited to the ceremonies and all the events associated with graduation. Make sure that any parents or grandparents with special needs are taken care of the day of commencement. We've got the campus security that is looking over things like parking and the flow of traffic, trying to get 4,000 students and parents in and out of this campus in a fairly timely way. We have the folks, like I said, at the Sewell Center who work with the technicians downtown to put up all the stages and the seats and the lighting and the television and all the things associated with putting on a production of that caliber. And that's just on the support side. Of course, we've got all the faculty that are participating in the ceremony, and all of the board of trustee members and VIPs that are part of the ceremony. So it's a pretty good production.
And how much harder has it become with the increase of class sizes every year? Every year it's the biggest class ever to go through RMU. How much harder does it make the whole process of putting on the commencement ceremony with bigger grades?
That's a great question. This year will actually we'll be graduating the largest class that we had up to this point in our history. And it will be a considerable challenge, especially with the undergrad program. The grad program, which we run on Friday nights, will be about the same. We have about the same number of master's and doctoral students. It's going to be the Saturday commencement ceremony in which we have about another 150 more students than we had last year. There'll be close to 700 students who will be graduating that will actually be participating in the ceremony. And so that does bring us some challenges. The biggest challenge is trying to get the whole ceremony done within a timely manner, so that we have people that will show up at 8 o'clock in the morning for the 9:30 start to make sure they get a good seat. Well, the ceremony has in the past lasted until about 12 o'clock, maybe 10 minutes after 12. So we're adjusting the script, we're adjusting the ceremony, we're adjusting the recognition that goes on during the ceremony so that we can try to keep it to that 2.5-hour limit. because that's taxing enough for a lot of people. If you've ever sat in that in the arena on on the bleachers for 2.5 hours, that can be a bit of a challenge.
So how do you go about distributing? You talked about the senior salute. What is the process for that many people getting the caps and gowns out, getting the transcripts out, and things like that?
Well, the senior salute takes away a lot of the hassle that might happen the morning of commencement. So for the students that come to senior salute, and we invite everyone and we hope they will all be there, they will have already picked up their caps and gowns, so we don't have to worry about that. We don't distribute diplomas at the ceremony itself because of the close proximity to the end of the semester. And so the students will receive their information. They'll have their diploma name and everything so that we know that they're graduating. They can get their transcripts anytime. We have a new system now, actually, where they don't even have to come up to academic services to get their transcripts. They can do that online. So we have digital transcripts that just started last fall. So they get their tickets, they get their commencement announcements, they pick up their tassels for their cap. They pick up a lot of the other materials, like if they have any honors cords or medals or medallions for graduating with honors. That's all done pretty much at Senior Salute.
Well, we will have to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more campus stories. Don't touch that dial.
Nicaragua is a completely different world. We were there to bring nursing care to some desperate people.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
The very first person that I met was David. Kept saying, "You have to come to my house and watch me play my trumpet." You could tell from the look on his face that it was just his most prized possession. I get back home. A few weeks later, I got a message that a gang had broken into his house at night and they stole it, which was his life. So next trip back, we gave him a new one. The look on his face was just complete disbelief. He just absolutely couldn't believe it. And to be able to do something like that is one of the best moments of my life. He said he'd never forget us.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
These boys are my heroes. They come every week to spend time with my children.
At Robert Morris University, every student is expected to reach out to others.
They can teach them something no one else can.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. They're role models to the children, and homework comes way before sports. Their grades have improved, and their lives are just a bit richer.
Okay.
What they do for my kids is truly wonderful.
Change someone's life. It changes yours forever. Robert Morris University.
I call them my lifeline.
We are back here on Campus Stories with our special guest as we discuss the upcoming commencement ceremony for seniors at Robert Morris University. So speaking of that ceremony coming up, you talked about it being at Seoul, but just for everyone involved, where and when is the ceremony at?
Okay, we have 2 ceremonies for our commencements every year. We only have commencement in the spring semester, so the students that graduate in the summer or graduate in the fall are also invited to attend the May ceremonies. We have the graduate ceremony on Friday night, and this year it's going to be May the 9th. It will start at 4:30 in the afternoon, and it will include the people who are graduating with their master's and their doctorate degrees. On Saturday is the big undergraduate ceremony. We start at 9:30 on Saturday morning, And the ceremony lasts usually till around 12 o'clock. We always tell people to plan on staying that long. We're always encouraging people, especially parents and grandparents, to come to the Sewell Center early. Try to get there between 8:15 to 8:30, just to make sure that you're not snarled in any of the traffic, and you find a good place to park on the campus, and you can get into the ceremony before it starts. The ceremony starts promptly at 9:30. We will close the doors for the arena while the procession comes in, so that's not disrupted. So again, I encourage everybody to come early.
Speaking of people that might come, how many guests is each graduate allowed to bring?
Okay, in the past, all of our undergrads have received 4 tickets to the ceremony, and then have a chance to go on what's called a waiting list, where we will offer you some additional tickets. This year we're going to do it just a little bit differently. Rather than giving out 4 tickets in your package at Senior Salute, we're simply going to ask you how many tickets you want, up to 4. Because we're hoping that if you don't need 4 tickets, that you can simply let us keep the additional ones. Because as we said earlier, this will be the largest commencement. We only have a limited number of seats, even in the arena. We can seat about 3,000 people. So if you divide that up, that's going to be the 4 tickets that everybody can get as a minimum, and then we'll allow an additional number of tickets, but probably not more than 1 or 2. So if you've got more than 4 friends that want to come to visit, more than 4 family members, you're going to have to perhaps find somebody, find a friend who can have some tickets that he or she doesn't need. It's going to be tight this year. It's going to be.
Do you foresee
limited
in the future how they might, how you guys might be able to counter that, or be able to kind of supplement tickets or find area for seating for additional family members?
Well, if you look around Robert Morris, the arena is the only big location that we have. We have toyed with the idea of having commencement in Joe Walton Stadium. But frankly, there's not a whole lot more seating over there. There's only about enough for 4,000 seats over in that area. And then, being in Pittsburgh in May, you just run a real risk of the weather closing you down. And so other venues, other possibilities that we've looked at, right now we have the grad and the undergrad ceremonies. We have thought about having maybe 2 schools on Friday and 3 schools on Saturday, where they be both the grad and the undergrad, and then we could even out the numbers a little bit more based on the schools. But we've kind of avoided that because the undergrad ceremony is really kind of special, and to have the master's students watching the undergrads walk, or the undergrads watching the doctoral students walking, is something that we're trying to avoid, at least for now.
And with the whole parameters, how long does it take to set up and tear down something this big?
It will last the whole week before commencement. The vendor that we have that comes in and kind of produces the commencement ceremony for us, he'll start moving his equipment in on Monday. And the Sewell Center turns from a basketball court into a venue that is very personal, even though it's huge, it's large numbers. We use the stage and the pipe and drapes to turn it into a very personal event. But that starts on Monday, and they start putting the lights up and putting the chairs down on the floor and putting the carpet on the on the stage, and it takes them 4 days to do it. And then we start rehearsals on Thursday. So we have everybody associated with putting on the event, on the graduate event. They come in at, let's say, 9 o'clock on Thursday, and they do a run through, and then we have the graduate faculty and the graduate platform party come in at 1 o'clock, and so we have 4 or 5 rehearsals that go on right before it, including a technical rehearsal where we go through all the lights and the sound and the kind of things that you guys do when you set up something even like this. So.
And then whenever you're done with everything, how long does it take before you start preparing for next year's ceremony?
Oh, we start in January. The committee has already met several times, and we'll start with bi-weekly meetings for about 2 months, and then beginning in next week, we start weekly meetings where the committee gets together and we go through the final pieces to make sure everything's ready. So this takes us almost a full semester to get ready to do the final event.
We'll take a quick commercial break here on Campus Stories and return with our guest. Don't go anywhere.
G-Morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did. Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
I'm starving. What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblums, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the art.
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
You ever think about buying a bigger place? Just waiting for a visit from the credit fairy. There is no credit fairy. How else will I get a better credit score? Look, you keep your credit card balances low and only open a new card if you really need it. No fairy?
There's no magic to improving your credit, but there's help, and it's free. Go to creditfairy.org.
Yes, ready.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Welcome back to Campus Stories here on RMU TV. Today we have Dr. Larry Tomei, Vice Provost of Academic Affairs at RMU, as our guest. So, before we wrap the show up today, I want to talk about the big hitters before we wrap up the fees and the deadlines. Let's start. What are the fees that come with graduation?
Okay. We have historically had a $150 graduation fee that the graduating seniors will pay, including the graduate students getting their master's and the doctorate students as well. The $150 is used to put on this production, and I haven't had too many students come to me after it was over and wonder what we spent that money on. We typically have about a $70,000 budget that is used to put on the commencement ceremony, and that $150 offsets the cost of their caps and gowns, so they get those as part of the $150. They get invitations, they get a reception afterwards for family and friends. As part of the $150, we have committed to free transcripts for students. And so, again, I haven't had too many people come up. Sometimes they want to know what the $150 is for. But once they figure out that they're getting more than that out of the $150, they're usually pretty good about it.
Now, with more students, the one thing that might be a plus is more $150 deposits, which means more lavish, a bigger budget maybe. Is that in the works?
Well, every year, like I said, it costs us $70,000 to put this on every year. If you multiply the $150 and take out the cap and gown and take out the announcement and take out the transcripts and so forth, the university still kicks in about $30,000 to this commencement ceremony. So even with the additional people, we spend a lot of their money on, again, the caps and gowns, which is going to go up as well, plus the reception that we try to have for parents and family and friends. We have to add literally another tent this year to make sure that everybody is taken care of. So we don't expect we're going to be making a whole lot more money on that.
And to wrap up, just the deadlines that all seniors should know about heading into the end of the spring semester.
Okay. I really want to put a little bit of emphasis on this. A lot of the deadlines for commencement have already passed us by. Okay, we were supposed to have your application for graduation by the 27th of January. That's how early we need that information, because we work with Jostens to do the caps and gowns, and we have we have the commencement books that we have to prepare and so on. So if you have not applied for graduation yet, the way I tell this to incoming freshmen when I meet with them 4 years before they're ready to graduate is, this is not high school. We do not know when you're going to graduate. Just because you've got 120 credits or 126 credits, a lot of our students will go on to grad school, or they will be in an integrated program, or they want to take some extra courses during the summer before they actually graduate. So we need to know when you're going to graduate. You have to come in and tell us that. And you should have done that by the 27th of January. The other deadlines that are very important, one of them, again, has already passed, and that is ordering your cap and gown. So you can't walk in the ceremony without your regalia. And the first milestone for that, or the first deadline, was the 15th of February. You have only another day or so where you can order your caps and gowns, and you still have to pay. You have to pay an additional fee now because it was past that deadline. After the 15th of March, which is a couple days ago, it's going to be a toss-up whether you're going to get your caps and gowns here in time for commencement, because we use embroidered gowns. We have the RMU seal on there, so the company is actually making those caps and gowns for us as they go through. So it's going to be very close.
With those things taken into account, what are the deadlines, just real quick to wrap up, the deadlines that are still up ahead for students that say that have completed everything thus far? What are the deadlines that students need to look for right now?
Today. I mean, literally. And the big issue is now we will accept people coming in for another week or so, but we can't guarantee you that your name will be in the program book, in the commencement book that you give mom and dad that says, you know, it's got your name in it, because those books have got to go to the printers early. Okay.
Well, that is all the time we have today here on Campus Stories. So on behalf of our guests and our always awesome technical crew, I'm your host, Vince Russo. We'll see you again all next week. Take care, everyone.